How's it going, everybody? Today I bring you a topic that I found very interesting. And, red light. I don't know how many of you will find it interesting, but it's something that I've always wondered other people's opinion on. So, after the break, we will get right into it. Recently in the news, there was a girl who sued her parents for child support. And I understand at the base level, this would look like a girl that just wanted to say F you to her parents. And I could see both sides of that story, sure. But here's what I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about her, and I don't want to talk about her parents. I want to talk about the system that's set up for students to go to college. Now, I understand that there's a lot of political and socioeconomical factors that go into this. Let's leave them off to the side. Or at least let's leave most of them off to the side for a second and talk about one issue that I'm curious on. This issue is whether or not, for FAFSA and financial aid in general, your parents should be a factor of what you get. Now, I understand that this is going to be touching some sketchy ground, so here's my thought on it. My parents were kind enough, when I was in college, to help me out. The flip side of that is that I needed to maintain a certain grading average and maintain a certain standard in order to receive their help. That setup for me and my family worked beautifully because I got to come out of college I did get to come out of college debt-free, and I got an education that I wanted and my parents and I found acceptable. The point is, if my parents were not around, or if my parents had said, hey, we're not going to help you, education is your responsibility after the age of 18, me as a person, I would have accepted that. I would have realized, yes, I understand that education at this point is my responsibility. However, and this is a really big however, that only works if the government recognizes that my parents are no longer a factor in the decision making and no longer a factor in whether or not I can pay for school. What do I mean by that? Let's assume that my parents made an annual income of $500,000. Obviously, this is not the case, but let's just assume after the break. Oh wait, green light, I can keep talking. So let's assume my parents made $500,000, okay? If, in the current setup, with FAFSA and everything, I'm not really eligible for a lot of financial aid. Because, or any, I'd have to double check. Because my parents make such a high income level, it's just assumed by the government that they're going to pay this. No. I appreciate everything my parents did for me, but if they had told me, we're not paying for your education, I would say, okay. Obviously, I probably wouldn't say okay, I'd probably say F you, I hate you, and a bunch of other stuff, but I would understand at a legal level that there is zero requirement now. In the scenario that I just gave of the $500,000, if my parents said no, we're not helping you, I wouldn't be able to go to school because I wouldn't qualify for any financial aid at all. I think that there should be a signed legal document that you and your parents sign that says, yes, we will help you for this year of school. There's a checkbox that says we will help. There's a checkbox that says we will not help. That way, if for whatever reason you have to apply for financial aid, your parents get weighed. Wow, bad driver of the week. Your parents get weighed into the decision-making factor. If they say they are not going to help you, they should not be remotely in the equation. I feel like that is the fairest way for people to get a fair education. But very broadly, I feel that if your parents say they're not going to help you, they then become a non-issue in the eyes of the government, and the government cannot turn around and say, well, your parents make this, so we are not going to pay for your education. That is a load of bullshit. And it's just a way for them to get out of helping people that would need help. But that's just my view on it. NJ Doc, it's always a pleasure to see you in these parts. But, yeah, that's my thought process on it. And, I would just thought I'd like to share. That's really it. So, wow, it's windy. Alright, guys, I'm gonna go